Alright, in this video I'm going to take you to the next step. Now you got to watch very carefully. It's all calculator work. Alright? Now in the last video I taught you how to take H and get pH. Now let's try this real quick. But this time I don't want to round it. Let me show you why. Okay, if I take 5.37 times 10 to the negative fourth, you'll notice I'm using this calculator law, and take off the negative, 3.2700. 3.270026. So I took it out a lot of decimal places. Here's the point of this video. Sometimes you're going to have a pH and you want to get that back. So I'm going to teach you how to do that. Here's what I want you to do. On your calculator, I want you to find that key. Most likely, it's close to that log key. Okay, so look around that log key. On this calculator right here, it's written right above log. It says 10 to the x. On this kind of calculator, it's also right above the log. And on this calculator, it's in blue writing, so I have to push the blue button to get it. Okay? So here's the deal. If I push blue button and oops, wrong button, let me try that again. It says 10 to the power. Okay? So on a lot of them, when you push this on your calculator, it's going to go 10 to the, and your cursor goes right there. I'm going to teach you how to use it first. If you're on a calculator like this one, and you hit 10 to the x, it gives you an answer, and that's not what you want. We haven't put a number in yet. So let me teach you how to use this, and I'm going to teach you how to get this answer back. So we just went this way. I'm going to teach you how to go back. Real easy to do. Starting on this calculator, I'm going to hit second function 10 to the x. You'll notice it opened the parentheses. Super important, big star. Write this in your notes. Must put negative back on. Must put the negative back on. Now, why? Well, the formula was the minus log of the H concentration we learned in the last video. This took off the 10 to the x, and the negative made it where you had always a positive number. So you got to put the negative back on. You must put the negative back on. So let me show you how to do this. All right. So I pushed 10 to the x, and there it is on the screen. So I'm going to put negative. I'm going to put all that answer, 3.27002. Oops, I pushed the wrong button. Let me do that again. 10 to the x of negative 3.270. I pushed the wrong button again. What is my problem? Let me try one more. 10 to the x of negative 3.270026. Enter. Now you will notice the answer that I got on my calculator. It says 5.36999 times 10 to the negative fourth. Can you see how close that is to that? I almost got my exact answer back. Now, you're not going to take your pHs this long. I'm showing you how to go from here to here and back. Okay, so let me do that one more time correctly. 10 to the x, negative 3.2700026. There it is. And I got it back. Okay, let's try it on the other calculator. All right, on this calculator, I'm going to start with the number 3.270026. Now mine is above the key, so I hit second, 10 to the x. Oh, look how crazy that number is. What did I forget to do? Well, it said a while ago I have to put the negative back on, so let's do it again. Negative 3.2700026. Negative. I got the negative. Now I'm ready to push that button. 10 to the x. Oh man, that looks great, except I got 0.000537. Oh my gosh, that doesn't look like the same answer. Why? Because it's not in scientific notation. Well, most scientific calculators tell you, like on this calculator, how to put it in scientific. It's right above my number 5 key. So I'm smart enough to know how to use this calculator, and I just blanked it. So let me try it one more time. I'm sorry. If I put negative 3.2700026, put the negative back on it, 10 to the x. I want to put it into scientific mode. There's that answer, 5.36999 times 10 to the negative fourth. That's how you go in reverse. Okay? So whenever you want to go this direction, you're going to use that 10 to the x key every time. All right, 10 to the x. Let me give you a completely different one. See if you can try this one. If I give you an OH, no, we're going to go in reverse. If I gave you a POH of 11.4 and I want to know what was the concentration that came from that. Pause the video, try it, see what you get. Alright, here's how you do it. 11.4. Put the negative back on it. This is how I use this calculator. 3.981 times 10 to the negative 12th. Should be able to see that on the screen. And I rounded to about like 4 decimals. Let me try it on my other calculator. 10 to the x of negative 11.4. Bang. 3.981 times 10 to the negative 12. I'll hold it still for a second so you can see it. Both calculators give me the same answer. Now, I'm going to show you something real quick. I'm going to make a mistake just this time. What happens if I don't put the negative on it? Here's what happens. If I do the same work, except I forgot the negative, does that look like the same answer? No way. You should always get a negative power. I didn't get a negative power there. So I'm doing it wrong. Have to put the negative back on it. Alright? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the rest of my shortcut that makes sure you get it right all the time. So make sure you have this. I gave you this part before. H gives you pH. OH gives you POH. The only link is 14 because when you add them together, you get there. Now what I just taught you how to do is do the reverse. So what's the shortcut? Here's the shortcut. If I'm going to go from here to here, I'm going to use the log button. If I'm going to go from here to here, I'm going to use the 10 to the x. If I'm going to go from here to here, it's the log button. If I'm going to go from here to here, it's the 10 to the x. That's how you can work every single formula. Notice there's not a link right here. So we're going to work like this, sort of like a horseshoe. It's a horseshoe. And so what happens if I'm here and I want to go here? I'm going to use log to get here and subtract from 14 to get there. Oh, well what if I wanted to go here? I would use log, subtract 14, and then use 10 to the x to get here. So let's try a couple of those. Use this diagram to help you. We'll do these together. Alright, here's one for you. H concentration of 4.36 times 10 to the negative 5th. Molarity. I want to know POH. Second example. I have pH of 8.36, and I want to know the OH concentration. Pause the video, get your answers, we'll come back and see how you did. Alright, so since shorthand, H gives me pH, and OH gives me POH, and I can go this way, and I can go this way, and the magic number is 14. Let's see if I can get it to do what I want it to do. In the first example, I'm at H, and I want to know this. So it's 2 steps. So to go this way, I'm going to use log. Alright, so I'm going to grab my calculator, and I'm going to put in 4.36 times 10 to the negative 5th, log, take off the negative. So the pH was 4.36. You can see that on my calculator. And then how am I going to get that? Well, 14 minus 4.36 is that answer. So 14 minus 4.36 equals 9.64. And then they can ask me any question. If they ask me if it's an acid or base, I'm going to look back at this, because the pH tells me if it's an acid or base. So it's an acid, so this much is an acid. But that's how I get my POH, the question they wanted. So that's the answer to question 1. Question 2, take my dots off. If they give me a pH right here, and they want me to go to here, I'm going 1 step. And then, and then I'm going to use the 10 to the x. So let's see how I'm going to do. I'm going to take Let me use my other calculator for this one, just so I use both. The first step is 14 minus 8. 14 minus 8.36. The answer, 5.64. What did I just calculate? Here to here, POH. So POH was 5.64. Now remember, I have to add the negative back on it. So I'm going to do 10 to the x of negative 5.64. And my calculator does all of it for me. 2.29 times 10 to the negative 6 molarity. And there's my answer. I'll show you on my screen so you can see it. 2.29 times 10 to the negative 6. This diagram right here is going to be the most important thing to calculate any pH question. Any pH question. Okay? And so in the next video, you're going to try a couple on your own. Reminder, log from left to right. That makes it easy. Going left to right is log. Backwards is 10 to the x. Log 10 to the x. So even when I would take a test, as soon as the teacher hands out the test, in the corner of my piece of paper that I'm writing on, I'd write this diagram and then I can answer any of them. So let's see you in the next video and see how you do the math.